It's December 5th, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. Would ask everybody to please rise for invocation, and then Pledge of Allegiance.
Almighty God, we come before you acknowledging your sovereignty over all things. We thank you for the many blessings that you have bestowed on our community. And as we work together to consider the task of governing within our community, we ask you to guide our thoughts and hearts. And Lord, we ask that you would grant to each of us wisdom and discernment and understanding. We are most thankful again for the blessings. And Lord, during this holiday season, we just ask that everybody would have a great and peaceful time. Each of us prays to you in the manner in which we were taught to pray. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So before we do any business, why don't you come on up? Yeah, but come on in. I'm not going to have you just sit there and listen to us.
Unless you really want to.
Yeah, unless you really, really, really want to listen to us. All right, so I guess you're here about the CPC grant, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just give us a little background and,
Well, actually, Rick Deckweiler is supposed to be here doing that part,
did I
and
take
he's
you too
not here.
early? Oh, all right.
So I guess I'll just have to tell you, well, we had, last July, we had a ceiling collapse at the Brocklebank Museum. Fortunately, it was not in one of the public rooms, it was in a curatorial room. So we put in for some a CPA grant to
Okay.
get that repaired. We also have a bow in a kitchen ceiling, which is public room, and we want to get that fixed before it's a problem, because that would cause us major problems with giving tours at the museum. So we put in for a grant. The total grant amount was $7,000. That includes new light blocking shades, which we're going to do after the ceiling repairs. The ceiling repairs are underway as we speak.
Okay.
So we're just looking to finalize grant agreement so we can start getting some money in.
and obviously already approved by CPC and town meeting, and it's just a matter of coming to us.
Yeah,
for
it's
the
just a
grant.
matter of signing the agreement tonight.
Once we sign, if it's approved and we sign, when will you start the repairs?
They've already started.
Oh, they're already started, okay, all right, I missed that part, okay. Any questions for Christine?
I do. Chris, I don't know if it's true or not, that's why I'm asking you, but I had heard that there's, the roof of the Brocklebank may need replacing soon, no?
No, I
Is
don't
there
know where
another-
that came from. It's
Okay,
not true.
all right.
We had it repaired just a few years ago.
Yeah, there was just some talk going around, so I wanted to verify that.
You may be
I-
on the schoolhouse,
The
I think.
school, yeah, you might be confusing that. The
schoolhouse?
schoolhouse they're talking about
All right.
repairs. The schoolhouse is owned by the town, even though it's on the, the schoolhouse is owned by the town, it sits on Georgetown Historical Society property. So we own the property, we do not own
Okay,
the
all right.
schoolhouse.
That was.
So I think there
schoolhouse,
was
yeah.
probably the confusion with that.
But your committee takes care of and watches for those needs. If the schoolhouse is gonna need a roof, you'll certainly.
No, that is entirely up to the historical commission.
Okay, so they are.
They are
But we'll get
responsible.
notification.
All right.
Yeah, they're
Right.
responsible for
We'll
that.
just
We,
fall in.
we are not responsible in any way for the schoolhouse, except for, we include it in our tours.
Okay, great.
The town is responsible beyond that.
Yeah, it's just a matter of notifying, letting us know that,
Yeah.
when the need is.
That's commission, not us.
Okay. All right, any questions for Christine? All right, hearing none. I would entertain a motion to accept or approve the Community Preservation Act grant agreement for the Georgetown Historical Society as presented.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
If I can now, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Fowler?
On page 2, section 2. It's nice to hear they've started to work, but if this is going in, most of the grant agreements, it looks a little, I'm not sure that that's been in some of the past grant agreements. It says that the project must commence within 1 year from the first date. Many of these projects are moved forward by people and groups that don't understand the whole bidding process and this and that, and so maybe my question is, Mike, is that rather new, that language?
No, that's been in previous
Okay.
grant agreements.
because it all seems a little, I mean, even ourselves on our town meeting project of the painting here was about how many years past when it was awarded at town meeting?
Because we're a town entity, we don't
We
have
didn't have
grant
a grant.
agreements.
Okay.
Okay.
Could I just ask one question? I had mentioned a correction that needed to be made when you sent me the draft. I just wanted to make sure that was made. Page one, they had the wrong amount. They had us for 52,000.
Oh, yeah.
We only need
I'm-
7.
I'm
Is
pretty
that
s-
corrected on this
That's
version?
7.
before
Yeah,
you sign
it's
it?
7.
Sure I did.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure before you sign it.
Yeah,
But
that was from the old grant
Yeah, I
agreement.
figured it was a copy and paste.
Yeah,
And I think part of the effort, to Gary's point, is about sunsetting these things, so they're not out reserved by CPC for projects that are never gonna happen.
Yeah, well, this work
Well, the
is,
CPC, I don't think we're very cautious about sunsetting things, and I think most of the groups that run slowly are probably as, like the town hall and town groups.
Yeah.
And many times we could have pulled back the money, but I can't remember doing that. We're not gonna say we've never done it. But, and then, again, I am going to ask that, and I don't mean to slow down any process here, but the town meeting warrant that this was approved by said that we were to do this grant in conjunction with the Community Preservation Committee. And I don't believe the Community Preservation Committee has looked over this. And I believe in the past that we signed off on the grants. I know that things were changed, that this Community Preservation Committee does not approve the billing and that anymore in an effort to speed up the process. But the way it's written at the town meeting, I can, I pulled it out, I can read it. Nope, that's not it. Give me a minute. To see if the town will vote pursuant to General Law, Chapter 44B, to appropriate from Community Preservation Fund $7,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Historic Reserve Account for the restoration, rehabilitation, and necessary repairs of Samuel Brocklebank Museum, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen, in conjunction with the Community Preservation Committee, to enter into a grant agreement with Georgetown Historical Society, setting up the terms for such grant, and further, any funds in this appropriation remaining unspent after a 3-year period from the date of the approval of this article will be returned to the Community Preservation Fund only after a vote by the Community Preservation Committee, determining that it is unlikely the remaining appropriated funds will need to be spent to this effort to take any other action in relation thereto.
Gary, I think in conjunction with this, open up for interpretation.
I guess it is, but I thought I didn't look, but I'm pretty sure that in the past, the community preservation used to also
Look at
sign
the grants.
off on these.
Okay. Mike, so they,
they did in the past, but when the change in the makeup of the grant, of the CPC past town meeting, and we've received legal opinions that once the town meeting approves the warrant article, the CPC is done as far as their responsibilities are concerned.
well, I think if you read the spirit of the warrant article, we've covered all that in the agreement. There's a sunset piece, right? The exact amount. We're doing an agreement. I think that in conjunction with, like I say, is really open up for interpretation.
Well, that's the way I'm interpreting.
I think it's, I think it's more directed at the amount than it is the actual physical agreement, but, I mean, I think we could have a conversation with CPC about that, but again, who wants to slow the process down too?
Yeah,
And
we're
and these are
not-
standard agreements, Mike, right? This is pretty much standard, other than the physical terms that matches up with the,
This is the same agreement that the Brocklebank used the first time around many years ago.
Well, 52,000, that would have been the most recent one that we did a few years ago.
Right. And the CPC had a hand in reviewing and writing this document.
right. I don't think anybody's against it. I think it's more of the
The
process.
only thing I did was change the names and the amounts.
Okay, and the terms, pretty much the same, 3-year sunset
Yeah.
clause, has to start within a year,
Mhm.
which was the spirit of the actual
Yeah, I
vote.
can't remember them all. I just
Hmm.
wanted to bring that up, Mr. Chair, but as Mike said, that it's usually the town groups that run a little slow on things, perhaps more than
Hmm.
the others, so.
Well, I think we can have that discussion with CPC at some point. But I think for this purposes, it's pretty much the same agreement that we've had in the past.
I mean, from the time Christine called me, I had this document ready within a week.
Okay. All right, Doug,
Just to let
did you have a
know
question?
Also, Mr. Chair,
No.
CPC meets quite regularly. I believe we're meeting tomorrow night.
I mean, you can voice that
Wouldn't
concern
it-
and see what, and then just report back to us and see what they have to say. And what their interpretation of in conjunction with is.
I have brought it up, but we're all rather, I'll bring it up again.
Okay,
But CPC has approved this though, right?
The town approves it, the CBC approves the application to go forward at the town meeting, and then we approve it, and then the townspeople approve it.
right.
Okay.
It's as I said, we used to in the past have a hand in writing the agreements, and the hand may have just been having
Quick
having the
review.
CPC names on it and saying yes. I mean, as Mike said, if it's pretty much a mirror agreement, other than changing the funds,
Did you have any conversation with Harry?
Well, I mean, I don't wanna slow this one down, but I think for the future, if it's a new agreement, maybe we should do more in conjunction with CPC.
Well,
If it's an existing agreement,
it's
much.
open
I
to,
disagree, Mr. Chairman.
Open to-
Their job is done when they make a recommendation on the floor of the town meeting.
Mhm.
That's all their legal responsibilities are. They had their,
vetting and everything.
but, in the past, they parsed every word and.
No, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
let's use the word thorough.
You can use that word, Gary.
Well, I mean, a point well taken. I think if we got to a point where it was something out of the ordinary, then maybe we would want to ask for some advice afterwards. Just advice, no non-binding. We can write the agreement the way we want. I'm just opening that up, leave that open-ended, just in case it's something much further beyond something like this. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm gonna
Motion.
abstain.
One abstention. Okay, so motion carries.
Okay,
Oh, you're all
Thank
set to move forward. We'll sign it tonight.
okay, do you want me?
You want us
I
to
can
sign
s-
it now
I
and-
can sign it too, I know,
Yeah, why don't we get
Rick
that done?
is, like I said, Rick was supposed to be here to sign it too, but I wrote, sign a copy. And can I get a copy of the signed agreement to it, so?
Okay, while Christine is signing that and passing it around, I'd like to congratulate the Georgetown Fire Department, the men and women of the fire department. Great job yesterday. I got to, the pleasure of riding along and kind of observing, and I was honored to be part of it. Great job. Highway Department also, I won't forget them. And Santa Claus, thank you so much. They did a great job, collected a ton of toys, and also the U.S. Marine Corps. So, thank you, and it's a proud moment in Georgetown when we see the effort for the Toys for Tots program and the smile on everybody's face when the Santa Claus comes by. So, thank you again to the Georgetown Fire Department, the Peter Durkee and his crew, and the U.S. Marines. And I'm sorry if I forgot anybody. Thank you so much. I'm just going to sign this. All right, next thing we have on the agenda is the executive committee, executive session minutes, from November 7th. Everybody want to take a stab at those?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the executive session
Meeting adjourned.
minutes of November 7th, 2016. But do we have to say, Mike, or keep them, what is the word, closed,
Sealed
sealed,
Already sealed, okay.
to a date,
to be
when
determined?
when the action will no longer have an effect on discussion.
Date when the action will no longer have an effect to the discussion.
There you go. Do I have a second on that?
I thought Christine wanted this, I guess not.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Am I going too fast for you guys?
Yes.
All right. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none?
Let
Oh,
me back up.
discussion.
Can I second? I was not at that meeting.
Yeah,
Can I second?
Yeah, you can second.
All right, I just wanna make sure.
All right, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
One abstention.
One abstention. All right. I see that Kip is here, so why don't we move to talk about the appointment to the EDC, that's Economic Development Committee, right? Why don't you come on up, Kip?
Oh, he's getting appointed to everything.
I mean, this, the new mayor of Georgetown.
All goes hand in hand.
All right, so I guess you have requested to be on the Economic Development Committee.
Yes, I have.
Good. We appreciate people stepping forward. Any, in a 1 or 2 minute synopsis, any ideas or any, just give a little reason why?
Just with some of the other work that we're doing with communication and whatnot, and just talking with folks, people have ideas for things, and for me, it's just a way to give back to the town. I think they kind of work together, and they're sort of a symbiotic relationship. So, I think it'd be, I think I could be useful, and there was an open spot, so I figured might as well help out where I can.
Yeah, good. Well, we appreciate you stepping forward.
Sure.
And all the other things you're involved with too. Has the Cable Access Advisory Committee had a meeting yet?
We haven't had our first meeting yet.
Okay.
In discussions.
Okay, well, that's good. No, that's, as long as we're on the, moving forward with that. Okay. All right, so any questions for the applicant? All right, so hearing none, and this is to expire when, Janet?
2017, it's just a one-year appointment.
1 year appointment, 6/30 of 17. All right, so anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint, I'm sorry, what's your first name, Kim?
It is Charles.
Charles.
Yeah,
okay.
Charles Durney.
That we appoint Charles Kip Durning to the Economic Development Committee to expire
June 30.
June 30th, 2017.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? You can back out now. No. Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now you can't back out. Just make sure he gets sworn in, though. Stop by and see Jan McGrain
Yeah.
to get sworn
To
in.
do it for the other one too.
Yeah, you guys, yeah. Give her a
Thanks,
couple of
Kip.
days, though, right? Janet, takes a couple of days for the form to get downstairs.
No, not if you sign it tonight.
Okay, all right, we'll sign that
I'll be
tonight.
down there tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. That was for that was for the cable advisory.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for stepping
Great.
forward, and
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks again,
Yeah,
Cal.
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. All right, traffic committee request. We have a 15-minute parking spot on West Main Street. Okay, and is Kevin DeFio gonna be here tonight? No? It's to create a 15-minute parking spot on West Main Street heading westbound by the Pizza Factory from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. This space will be the last spot prior to the alley driveway behind the Pizza Factory. Oh, I know exactly where that is. It does get very congested over there in terms of parking, especially if you're gonna go to the spot or you're gonna go to the Pizza Factory or, have a little pastry there, whatever. So they wanna make
On
that.
committee if there's any questions.
Well, Gary, why don't you give us just what the reasoning is behind it? If you wanna give us a little, I'll put you on the spot, but.
No, we took it under advice. I actually brought it up. No proprietors actually came forward to us, but some town residents had come forward that, it was kind of difficult to get in there at certain times of the day. And so we took it under advisement and we voted to move one spot forward at this time. We did discuss perhaps two, but we figured let's go with one right now because we also trying to be fair to everybody in the area
Yeah.
that's doing business. But
Okay.
and we have, or they, not why, they have in the past in other areas taken that type of consideration under advisement, and this board has made changes down on the east end, Main Street end of town.
Does it require public notice, though, a public hearing? or the opportunity for those businesses, Mike, to weigh in on that?
I don't know.
Yeah, because my concern would be that once we do this, you may hear from,
Yeah, I can't
may hear from
remember
the
in the
businesses
past
say,
what
"What are you
we did.
doing?" you know?
We did one down on East Main Street, I think it was in front of the bank. I think it was this board that did it. And it was, I think, handled pretty much the same way.
Yeah.
So I guess Mike would have to look up the history of,
Yeah, I would recommend holding off on a vote on this so we can get some more information.
Yeah, so, two questions, I guess, if you can bring back to the committee. One is, I assume we're going to have a sign there, is
yes,
that's gonna be put up by the highway
yes.
department?
Peter
And-
Jerky's also on there, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And then in terms of enforcement, how do we, are we actually gonna have a police officer spend time?
Well, we've got other parking, signs, so I would imagine it will be enforced in the same manner that they enforce all the other regulations in town.
Okay. Seems like a quick stop to be able to enforce it, that's my,
I think,
If I can make a comment.
if I could
No,
just
go ahead.
continue on
Let's go.
that,
Sure, go.
one of the reasons it's, some of us, I think, wanted it to be a little longer than 15 minutes, but one of the reasons we went with 15 minutes was because of, as Officer DeFeo said, by the time, if they got a call, by the time they got there and got to the call, the 15 minutes can double into a half an hour, so that's why we didn't really go with a longer time span. We kept it at 15 minutes, so that thought was there, so. Because they, that was it, they said they can't start enforcing the 15 minutes till they get there and see it.
gotcha.
So Doug,
The business there that really benefits from that is the pizza factory. Because just the normal use of the parking on the street at night would necessarily gravitate to the spot. And then there would be no parking unless, and most people don't know about the parking behind the building. You know, so that 15-minute spot would be, advantageous for the
Just-
pizza factory.
One more little thing, I believe that is going till, I think it was 7 PM.
7 PM, right,
Yeah, where
Right.
most of the other parking down there, the 2-hour parkings are till 6 PM.
okay.
So that was also taking out just a little bit longer in the evening for business.
All right, well, my recommendation on this, and it's just a recommendation, would be to have Mike look at what we've done in the past, and I'd like to make sure that the business owners and building owners, they weigh in on this before we actually take a vote. That's just my opinion, unless somebody wants to make a motion to go forward.
No, I am okay with that. We certainly wanna make sure things are done in the correct manner, because if we don't, then the police department can't enforce it anyway, so.
All right, so we have consensus, we wanna pass on this?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a winter parking ban that's in effect starting, obviously, December 1st, ending April 1st. And that's a correspondence from Peter Durkee. It says, "This is being sent as a reminder that as of December 1st, the town's winter parking ban will take effect." And we had a little snow today, so that actually, reminds you that there is a parking ban. This will be in effect until April 1st. No parking on any street is allowed between the hours of 1 AM and 6 AM. No parking is allowed on any street during a declared snow emergency. This is always done when any impending storm is forecasted 6 inches or more in depth. The Boston radio stations are also notified. Any vehicle impeding or blocking snow and ice control will be towed at the owner's expense. If you're parking overnight in the park and ride lot, please park all cars on the right side when entering from East Main Street during snowstorms. This will allow for the plows to clean the entire parking lot without having to maneuver around parked cars. I would respectfully request a courtesy to any residents that are not aware of this ban, that you announce this communication at your next meeting, and copies of this communication are provided to the press and cable TV. Maybe we could also put it on a sign at some point.
It's
I think it
already up
is,
there.
yeah.
Is it up there? Okay. All I saw was Kiwanis and the date and time.
Blue and
It's
yellow.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. We can have a little discussion on the sign as we get through our, to the end here.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Can we go to the social media policy? Kip's gonna.
Oh, is he? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you. All right, so let's move to the social media policy. Kip, you wanna come back up on this? Okay, so, quick question for Mike. Are we all vetted with legal on this?
We are.
Okay,
I do have a letter that came with the changes, an email from the attorney. It wasn't included in your packet, but he made some changes.
But this-
Basically saying, the town's policy looks fine.
Okay.
And he says, I will note, however, that some of our towns have been asking for somewhat differently worded policy and have attached some suggestions that have come from our work with other communities for the board's consideration. Also, there are two comments on the attachment document. They reflect places where we just want to point out that you should confirm the appropriate personnel are identified in those spots in the policy. And I gave you the markup copy. It shows you where legal,
did you put them in though, in this master?
yes, they're in
Okay.
the master.
All right, good. Yep.
I just wanted to let you know that some changes were made and or suggested.
All right, so those were the, anything that's underlined, policy applies to all employees, officers?
Oh, same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And this is, obviously, this is town-wide, right? All departments have to adhere to this social media policy,
With the exception of the schools.
schools, okay. All right,
Mr. Chair, just for my knowledge.
Because they
why
have
is
their
that?
own, right?
yeah, why, that is a good question, why,
The school committee is the policy board for the school department.
okay.
Do they have a policy that they follow?
I don't believe they do, right?
I don't think they do. I
I think
think
that's what
Mike
Michael was
had
asking us,
suggested that they were working on something.
if this
yeah.
could be, well, if we can include this under them as well, and I don't know what,
Because I'm sure by not having one,
if
they're
that's allowed or not.
non-compliance. or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would make sure that we pass this along as a courtesy, we don't wanna be setting policy for the schools. However, I mean, the work has already been done and vetted by legal.
Right.
It, to me, would,
I
you
could
know,
use it as a tool.
Yeah.
or as a guideline for them to adopt their own policy, so. But we wanna make sure that we're all in tune together here, you know, so that the schools aren't doing something different than we're doing, you know,
That
in
they're
terms of
not in-
archiving and,
They're not in compliance with the public records law.
okay,
There's no archiving.
Yeah, that was my question.
there's no
So-
archiving.
Nobody does.
Where do we stand with that? Cause I
Yeah.
know we've had some conversations about
Yeah,
what our,
well,
did you meet with Kip? Did you guys
Not
meet
yet.
in terms, oh, not yet, okay,
I know you got some pricing though, right? Didn't you
Yeah.
investigate some of them? I
Yeah.
saw some emails going back and forth.
okay.
Okay. How quickly can we get that done so that we can be up and running?
I don't know how long is it gonna take to develop a Facebook page.
It's done.
Okay.
Send you the link.
Okay.
No, I don't know if it is or not.
Is it up and running yet?
Honestly, no,
No,
it's
I
not.
don't think it is, right?
It's
Okay.
actually created, but it's unpublished, so nobody can see it except for me.
Okay, all right. Okay,
I mean, it's a matter of choosing a service provider and,
for archiving, you mean, right?
yeah, and paying for the service.
And what budget's that coming out of, the selectmen's budget? Where's that money coming from?
So I had suggested cable advisory, I'm not sure if that's,
Can we spend the money on that?
I don't know.
There are strings on that money.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be spent for cable.
Yeah. Maybe we can look into that and see, you know, let's get a definitive answer on that, but yeah,
Yeah,
there are some problems with that. I've learned firsthand from the situation with another community that I was really close to, and it just blew up. So we have to be
Mr.
careful, yeah.
is there an outfit that we can actually just do month by month for now, so we can get it up and running, instead of committing to a long-term contract?
Well, I think it's everyone I've reviewed is a annual
Is it annual?
agreement and you pay monthly.
Okay.
And what are we talking for cost roughly, Mike? Couple $100 bucks?
Page freeze was the most, I thought that had the most value, and it was for up to 5 pages, 5 separate devices, or it could be 5 Facebook pages, or 1 Facebook page and a Twitter account, and
Okay.
whatever it makes, 5 for $100 a month.
Okay, it's about $1,200 a year.
So I was thinking if we had the.
That's for the whole town too, right?
Yeah, and so if we had the town page, police, fire, school, and a 5th one.
Yeah.
Library.
It was $20 a piece, a month.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
we can't find that in those budgets,
Okay.
I think we can-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in pretty bad shape. All right, so you can work that end of it, Mike, and get back to
Yes.
us on that?
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't wanna be infiltrating somebody else's budget, but we are suggesting a
I have
source.
a staff, department head meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
I can talk about it then.
All right, so anything else in this policy, Mike, because there are some questions, right, that legal has come up with in the comments? So can we just run through this real quick, this draft,
Yeah, the only questions was,
individuals, right?
yeah, we don't have, like on page 3, we don't have an information technology department.
Yeah, it's Janet.
No,
Thanks.
the ones who get it, that actually approve it is our IT consultant, Boston Systems Solutions.
Well, maybe put them in there for now, and if they change, we'll have to change the policy, that's all. Okay. All right,
And then they,
Yeah, I think on page 4, there was a comment, I assume the town has already adopted such a policy, and I believe there is an electronic
yes, we do
communication
have
policy.
that
yeah.
policy.
okay,
Yep, so that's good.
all right.
And,
And then please confirm.
More information, contact the town administrator's office, that's perfect, on page 6.
Yep.
All right, that looks,
yeah, I had a question on page 2, section 3, number 2. The official posting for the town will be done by an appointed official selected by the Board of Selectmen or their designee. And then number 3 says that, subject to prior approval of the town administrator. Are we gonna have competing, approvals? Who's being referred to in section 2? In number 2?
I guess, yeah, we have to determine who the designee is.
So it would probably mean, if I may, Mr. Chair,
sure.
it would probably mean that the board would take a vote to make the town administrator our designee. I would, or maybe not, but
I think the idea, well, if I may, Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
yeah, sure.
I think the idea was to have the cable advisory be the administrator, but we don't want to exclude town employees from being able to,
Right, like the police chief. or
yeah, to
fire
post
chief.
their
Mhm.
updates, right? So I'm not, or,
Yeah, I mean, it could go 2 ways. I think that's a more mature model, allowing them to directly, right from the get-go, to post that. We might want to, at the beginning, have a gatekeeper, so everyone can get on the same page and understand, what we can post, what we can't post. I don't know, you just,
The only issue
wanna
with
be
that is
careful.
there's some time-sensitive stuff like the police department, puts out, like, I know they've been doing, like, German Shepherd was missing, the quicker the better. So
Right.
rather than have to go through an approval, I think we can, at least my opinion would be trust those department heads to put the.
right,
appropriate
yeah, so
information
each for one of them to be their own gatekeeper,
Right.
to post the things that they need to post, but not like to have everyone in the department, or have the ability to
Right.
designate, someone below them or multiple people to do it, because then you have 15, 20 people doing it all different ways.
yeah.
No, you have anarchy.
Right,
You do.
yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. I just didn't wanna see one person approving.
Oh,
everything.
yeah, no, that's not what I meant.
Okay.
I see what you mean, though.
Yeah, because that would be just a bottleneck.
Yeah,
I know
it
the
would.
chief, and there's an emergency in town, he puts out a blast right away. you know.
Right.
All right, so the official for posting the town will be done, selected by the Board of Selectmen or their designee. I mean, I would say that Mike should approve who can, who has access. Because as the town hall employees. Because Mike's responsible for the employees. A committee's not necessarily responsible for all the employees, right? But as far as posting for the Board of Selectmen, that's what we have to determine. So I think number 3 is fine. It's number 2 that we would have to question, no? Does it even have to be in there, Mike?
Well, that's what, 2 and 3 seem to be in conflict with one
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, I would say maybe we should just delete number 2 and just move it up. Departments have the option of allowing employees. How about departments and boards have the option of allowing employees to participate in existing social media sites as part of their job? Department heads may allow or disallow employee participation in any social media. Maybe just add boards to that?
If I may.
Sure.
Steve had said earlier that I thought you mentioned something about the cable advisory committee being,
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea, and again, this was kind of a canned policy that was presented by town council on their website. So, there's probably a few things in here that we just kind of glossed over, but, yeah, I mean, I think the idea out of the gate was to have a proof of concept, give the rights to Kip, have him communicate,
Yep.
through cable advisory to department heads and figure out what's the best way to get the information out to the public. And then after we, find out what is the best way to do it, and, if things are working, then we would update the document accordingly, so,
So how about something like, subject to the
Maybe we-
approval of the town administrator and/or the Board of Selectmen, departments and commissions have the option, departments, commissions, and, we just want, boards and commissions have the option of allowing employees to participate. So we could either approve it or Mike could approve it. Right? So, subject to the prior approval of the town administrator and/or the Board of Selectmen, departments, boards, and commissions have the option of allowing employees to participate in existing social media. And that would just eliminate number 2 completely, which would
Yeah,
give Mike the authority and us the authority.
well, because it's, I mean, if you look above in 1A, it's a little repetitive. It says all town social media
the
sites
site.
shall be approved by the board of, the site shall be.
That's the site,
Yep.
that's not the actual
Right.
participants, right?
Yep.
So, if we eliminated number 2 and wrote, subject to the prior approval of the town administrator and/or the Board of Selectmen, departments, commissions, and boards have the option of allowing employees to participate. You can add word, employees, and, allowing employees and members to participate in existing social media sites as part of their job duties, or allowing the employees to create a social media site as part of their job duties. Department heads may allow or disallow employee participation in any social media activities in the department. So that would give us and Mike pretty much the control, and then once we just say, in a vote that Kip is, able to, or Mike can even give him the authority, some type of, maybe just make up a form, Mike, written authority to do it. Kind of like a license to do it. What do you think of that?
I think that's fine.
So,
Sure.
we're gonna have, are they gonna be posting to the town website, or is every department, like, and board have their own website?
If you approve it, or we approve it. We only have 4 that we can archive, so we're not gonna be approving many, except for the major ones, right?
Yeah, I would say that we really don't know yet, so, I mean, I think we're trying to figure out what the best way is to administer this, hence,
Yeah, this can be flexible too. I think if
Yeah.
we start with that, and we have control, Mike has control, we're not gonna allow every department to create a social media site. Because we just can't archive it. We just, you know what I mean? They have to follow
Right.
the rules. So
I
if we
think
put,
a lot of them, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
if we put the controls, you know, ahead, that it's
School,
it's Board of Selectmen and or
Fire,
Mike,
School.
we're all in conjunction. You know, if we wait 2 weeks and it has to be done, then Mike can approve it, you know? Go ahead,
Schools
Clement, then Mike.
Part of this,
Don't-
yeah,
Yeah.
they can be.
Doesn't,
Neither
the
is
fire
library.
department, police, don't they already have a Facebook page?
Yes, they
Yes.
do.
So, I mean, so we pretty much just reeling those in a little bit, you know, and bringing them into this policy, you
Yeah.
know, and,
They're not archiving, so they're in violation right
Yeah.
now. So they need to have a vehicle to archive. They're great sites, because you can, you know, especially the police site that, you know, I follow a lot. And it's fine, and they do a good job with it, but they have to be recording all of that data. And, we wanna make sure that they're doing that, just in case.
so, but the question on the table is, you know, are we gonna have, you know, 4 pages or just one? Are we gonna tell them they have to shut their page down and bring it into, you know, say the main town page? Is that what we're saying?
If I could, Mr. Chair,
Sure, okay.
I think our initial thought on this was, go to each of the boards and ask them what's going on in their particular board. So that's really where the gap, of communication was, right? So what's happening in the development down off of 133? What's happening there? What's going on? I don't think we really intended to start to replace what's out there already or consolidate. You know, I think it was more just to get the word out on things that people ask about a lot, which I think is just kind of the happenings around town.
Right.
Whether it's planning, conservation, park and rec.
Yeah.
So,
I think we could design that, Joe. I think, and to your point is, you know, maybe Park and Rec is part of the town, you know, part of the town's webpage. Whereas the fire department and police department, public safety are separate, you know, where they may have to get an immediate, like I say, immediate message out or whatever it is. So, I agree that, I don't think we're asking everybody to rein into one. It'd be just too much to, you know, too much to take care of, to be honest. But that was, I think, right, you said that from the beginning, that
Yeah.
we would do that. I'm gonna go
Is
with-
there a way to have the town page follow the fire department, the police department, and what does that do? Do those posts then automatically get into the town website, page?
Yeah, no, not really.
That's Twitter, right? That's
Yeah,
more
it's,
Twitter.
it really wouldn't work like that. Then the notifications wouldn't go out. So if you say follow on Facebook, the town website, if only if we post something on the town website is there going to be a notification to anyone that there's a posting there. But they have to be following that one.
But if the fire department follows the town website, and vice versa, what happens then?
That's just in their own feed. So when they look at their feed, they'll see those posts. But it's not going to push anything out to anybody. The only things that get pushed out are things that you actually post to that page.
So that doesn't work like if you have a post and you wanna put it to, let's say, Georgetown Parents, Georgetown News, your own feed, would they be able to do something like that? And
Yeah, like you can't post it in one place and have everybody see it on multiple
Unless you're,
pages. It doesn't.
unless you're a member of each group though, right?
Right, you'd have to be a member of each
Right,
one.
so to Mike's point, yeah, if you're a member of all three of all three pages, and something comes up on one page, you are gonna get notified, cause you're already a member of that page. So if I have the fire department, town hall, and schools, say, and the schools post something, I'm gonna see it.
Right,
But
because
it's
they
not
post
gonna
to theirs.
necessarily be on, you have to be a member of all of them
Yeah,
in order for them,
Right.
you know. But to Mike's point, if the fire department's a member of the town hall one and they post something, won't it show up on the town halls? No, because it doesn't post on your
Doesn't
site.
push,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't
got
look
it.
like that.
Yeah.
what if we, I know enough just to be dangerous, what if
all of us.
Your age is showing, Mike.
what if we have an RSS feed?
You can do that. Most people would look at you and say, "What's an RSS?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm wondering.
I would think
Most people wouldn't know what that is, but
if you created this as a group, and then ask the police and fire department, anytime they post on their page, to post to this group as part of the posting procedure with that.
You could do that, but then what's the point of having their page?
Right.
Agreed.
They could have different followers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They already have hundreds of followers.
But then all
It
have
would
to
be
It
be
good
just
to-
gets clouded.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
it
You
gets-
lose the message.
True.
Well, I mean, I think in the spirit of what we were talking about originally was to give, let's try it this way, and then we'll see, then we go from there. We just have
Yeah,
to be
it's a work in
flexible and see how it
progress.
works.
Yeah.
That's all.
In my opinion, it's more of, it's getting the other groups in compliance.
Yep.
Because we're not doing archiving with them. And then the new one, the net new, is the town. And that's really the communications. And that's really where this all stemmed from.
Yep.
So if we can get a lot of people to sign on to their town for communications, and we can kind of use that as a proof of concept, and then go from there. One thing I just will say, you said there's 5. They said you could.
5 for 100.
Right. So
And
for
actually,
instance.
they said if you go 6 or 7, we don't care.
Okay. So, for instance, the police, they have a Facebook page, but they also have a Twitter account. I'm pretty sure the same thing is true for the fire. So you're talking 4 right there alone, plus if we just do just Facebook. So I'm just saying that there might be we might need to up a little bit in terms of the number of platforms we need to archive, but we can review that once we take inventory.
Okay. All right, so in terms of the policy, I'm gonna go to Gary though, because Gary had a question.
Well, I still had a question, this all started off as trying to understand question 2, whether it's needed or not. And as I read it and I hear everything that's going around, I am wondering if, did you guys sort of like mirror this policy off from someone else's? I mean, you got this from
From
KP?
town council's
Yeah.
website, yeah.
So I'm wondering if 2 was perhaps meant for a town that perhaps had an employee, because in a way, the way I'm reading it, the posting will be done by an appointed official. So I sort of get the idea that someone's sending this stuff to this official, and this is the only one who can post it, the way I'm sort of reading this now. I could be wrong, and if we don't have that position, or your board is that position, yeah, that's sort of,
I thought that was gonna be part of the, communications
Yeah,
committee.
I mean, if
They-
we
where
could,
they'd have
well, I
that
guess that's what I'm
oversight,
getting
but I
to in the
don't know.
question. I mean, who does this go through, just like we were very concerned about the few things that appear on the sign?
Yep.
Who does this all funnel through?
can I make a suggestion on that? So,
Sure.
Cable Advisory Committee so who appoints that? I'd say the Board of Selectmen
Right.
Yeah.
would appoint the Cable Advisory Committee, as the moderator of the Facebook page, and then we can remove everything else for now. Does that,
Yeah, maybe just leave
know.
this the way it is, but change that to the official posting for the town will be done by,
and again, it's only temporary, it's
Right.
not, this isn't the end all of the document.
So
Because as we go through this, we're gonna say, hey, this isn't working, or this is, and we'd rather do, so.
then to that, can I ask, I mean, are you hoping to vote on this tonight?
Mhm.
So could I
Yes.
perhaps make a motion that number 2, that we, as the Board of Selectmen, appoint the Cable Advisory Committee as the designee to section 2, number 2 of, what is it, section 3 policy on page 2.
how quickly we're gonna be up and running would be the question, and Cable Advisory hasn't even had a meeting yet. So, not to be critical, I'm just, from a process perspective, are we
Just trying
putting
to
too
move
much
along.
on the Cable Advisory?
I just
right
wanna
off the bat?
move, yeah, I mean, again, ongoing policy, I don't think any of these are showstoppers,
Mhm.
or have enough significance where, it's gonna get us in trouble.
Yep, okay,
I mean, that's just my opinion.
okay,
Mr. Chair.
sure.
Does that then conflict with, again, number 3, though?
I don't think so.
This is just a people are approved to participate. the number two is the official posting for the town will be done by whom? This is subject to the town administrative departments have the option of allowing employees to participate in existing social media sites as part of their job duties or allowing to create social media sites as part of their job duties. Department heads may allow or disallow employee participation in any social media activities in their department. Well, so the town's website, can people post to it? Right. Or is it gonna be one way? In other words, this is what's going on, there's, you know, a big, you know, celebration going on at the park, you know, concert in the park next week. Can people reply, or is it just gonna be informational pushed out only?
The Facebook page or the website?
The Facebook
The
page?
Facebook page. The idea was to for it to be one-way communication from the town's perspective.
Yeah. Good.
So we're just pushing out information that
Okay.
we think is important to people in town. We will not be commenting. We'll just point
Right.
people to resources if they need it. You know,
Yeah.
this is a link to the town website.
So there's your point, Joe. So if Mike gives people the existing social media site as part of their job, which is meaning the police chief, as I'll look at it that way as the example, he's giving the police chief the authority to set up his own webpage and post his own content. Anything that goes on that town website would have to be from somebody that we appoint. Even though people can use it, meaning the police chief, on their own site, doesn't mean that they'll be officially on the town site. That's the way I read
I
that.
would agree.
But I still have a motion
So
on that,
fix
Mr.
it.
Chair.
Well, yeah, I don't think, is it well, we would have to adopt a policy then amend it, if we're gonna do that right. So there's really
No,
no,
I can't make a motion because the policy's not adopted.
right, yeah, then we'll change
I
it
will
now.
withdraw my motion.
Chair, so this
What
is a-
should I move to adopt the policy then?
We're gonna move to adopt the
just
policy.
keep it
Policy for
rolling.
all, so this is a policy for all social media sites, and not just the specific one that we wanna run a proof of concept by. So,
Right,
I don't have an issue with town administrator and having employees be able to do it or not, but that's not to say that they will post on the specific one that we are running a proof of concept on, so.
okay,
I think the policy as is without number two, or including number two, but just adding, you know, a few, adding cable advisory in there, I think that's fine, but the point is that this is meant to encompass all towns' social media.
yeah.
Not just the specific one that we're talking about that we wanna deploy. I don't know if that helps.
Can I change my,
No.
can I change my motion, Mr. Chair?
All right, well, you can make any motion, because you never got a second, so you can make a motion.
I move to move forward with with the exception of the social media policy as proposed to us on this night of December 5th, 2016, with the, how do I say this? Can I do
Can I
this
help
in one,
you?
can I do this
Can I
in
help
one
you?
motion? With
Sure,
yeah,
with the
sure.
addition
With the
of
condition,
the
okay.
cable advisory to number, policy
Yeah.
3, section 2. Section, number 3, section 2.
Yes, that's it, well, yeah, as you said.
So we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion on the motion. So, discussion is, let's read number 2 the way we want it now. The official posting for the town will be done by an appointed official selected by the Board of Selectmen or their designee or the Cable Advisory Committee. Gives us some flexibility. That's basically what we're saying, right?
Well, I wanted to make them the designee, so should we accept the policy and then make another motion?
No,
Okay.
you made that motion.
Okay,
I thought it was the official posting for the town will be done by the Cable Advisory Committee,
so,
selected by the Board of Selectmen or their designee.
And I think that's what Gary said.
that's what I'm trying to
Appointed.
say. And
That's
at the-
exactly what
at the
Gary
same-
said.
At the same time as the motion, we're making them the designee.
Number 2.
Have to watch
Got
the
all
tape.
that, right?
Steve, say that again. The official posting for the town will be done by the Cable Advisory Committee,
Period.
Yes,
as appointed by
as
the board,
appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
or their designee. Do we leave the or designee
I
in
think we
there?
leave it or designee out, yeah.
Just leave it out.
Leave it out? Okay. Official posting for the town will be done by the Cable Advisory Committee as selected by the Board of Selectmen. Period. I think that's what Gary had to say, wasn't it, Gary?
I
Who made the
believe
second,
that-
Steve?
That is the
I just-
gist of the motion,
There you
yes.
go. All right, so there's our motion. All right, so any further discussion on the cable, not the cable, but here we go. Phew, social media policy?
So just
Go.
so I can explain it to the department heads and the boards. All their job is to provide content for the page to the committee. And you'll take care of the rest.
That's,
Right.
That's it right now, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably like 3 bullet points a month, or
Right.
I don't know what the frequency is, and that's it.
Right, for
Yep.
now,
Yeah.
let's get the interpretation that excluding police and fire. We are gonna meet with police and fire to talk about archiving, because they need to get it, and make some suggestions
I mean, they
to the school committee.
can provide content too.
Oh, yeah, they can provide, right, but they can still do their own.
Yes.
Oh, all right, so that, I was gonna clarify that, so they could still post on their own,
Oh, yeah.
Facebook pages or
Yep.
whatever,
As long as
especially if it's, needed right away.
Right.
As I know you guys have, your normal jobs during the day, you might not be around or whatever, so as long as they have that ability.
And you can share, as the moderator, you can share something from another site, right? So-
Absolutely.
So if
Yeah.
the fire department puts up, hey, this is fire prevention week on their site, they may wanna submit it, or you may wanna grab it and share it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Just wanna also make a note that, I mean, I'm doing this and expecting, as Steve and Kip had said, this is to be a work in process, and you may be coming, to us in the future with, amendments or whatever to this policy.
Yep.
Yeah. We just wanna get the thing rolling, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, this is to get it.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Aye, great job, guys. Awesome.
Kip.
Good job. Okay.
Can we get a clean copy of this policy once it's
Hit that
published, the
Staples
changes
button.
made?
Yes.
That was easy.
So does that mean we can now fire it off, or?
We can fire it off.
There you go.
There you go.
Thanks, sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all in your hands now, Kit.
All right, thanks.
All right, let's just see.
Glad to help you guys out with
I
that.
appreciate it.
All right, so next thing is, on the
didn't even
agenda
read that
is
section.
REITs Across America invitation. Everybody get a chance to take a look at this. December 12th, REITs Across America Caravan, we're visiting the Topsfield Fairgrounds for a REIT presentation, ceremony in Coolidge Hall. The caravan is the journey to the Arlington National Cemetery to cover the cemetery with honor wreaths. The mission of REITs Across America is to place an honor wreath on the graves at the National Cemetery in Arlington and other national and international veteran cemeteries across the country and the world. The caravan will arrive at 5 p.m. at the fairgrounds, depending on the weather and travel. Just an invitation for us to, the town of Georgetown and veterans to attend the ceremony. A memorial wreath will be presented to the representatives of the town to be mounted at a place of honor for our veterans of your town. Please let us know who would represent your town at this ceremony, Mr. Dawes.
That's already been taken care of.
Taken care of, okay. And who is gonna represent us?
I am,
There you go. Thank you,
as
sir.
a member of the Board of Selectmen and also as Commander of the American Legion.
Perfect. Very good.
Thank you.
It's quite
Good
an
job.
event.
Thank you.
It's
Really?
really, the caravan is really something to behold. It's led by the Patriot Guard, and then the caravan comes in, they have ceremonies, and then you get a spaghetti supper.
Are we meeting next week?
No,
19.
Okay. So if another board member wants to go.
Yeah,
we
sure,
would just
sure.
let them know, we'll check the schedule
Anybody that wants to go, open invitation.
and.
And I might say that there is a, if I may, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
There is a fundraising initiative taking place within the town to place wreaths on the veterans' graves in the local cemeteries.
Okay. And who,
Okay.
who is
You
that?
can go on the wreathsacrossamerica.org website.
Yep.
And you can, click on, local, and then find the Georgetown site, and they can donate there. I think up to I forget what date, the 6th, which is tomorrow.
Just another question, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
And you'll be bringing a wreath back, and where will that be, going down to Harry Murch, or, if I read this correctly?
I'll be bringing a wreath back. And probably it will go at Harry Murch, yes.
And you don't need a ceremony or anything
No,
for
they
that?
typically don't.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, sir. All right, chair fundraiser. We got a correspondence with Janice Eggenberg about a chair fundraiser for the cheerleaders. As you know, the cheerleaders, or if you did not know, Georgetown High School cheerleaders have advanced to the national competition taking place in Orlando, Florida in February. It's a huge honor to be there, and good luck. Congratulations. It's the first time in history that the team has made it to the national cut, so congratulations. With that, they want to do a fundraiser. It says, I spoke with Chief Cudmore this morning about hosting a Christmas caroling cheer gathering in the park across from Winter Street, either the weekend of the 10th or 17th. So the team actually has a clinic practice on the 17th, so either Sunday the 18th or next weekend if we can pull it off. Late afternoon, 3 to 6 on the day we select to hone in on all the shoppers coming from the malls. Chief Cudmore has agreed to help us with the safety precautions, loaning out some officers and cruisers for sirens and lights to draw attention to fundraising and caroling. It's kind of hard for us to approve something if we don't have a date.
Yeah,
Definitive
and
date.
I actually have
give
had
that one to
correspondence
David.
back and forth with her.
That was the revision, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a
Okay.
a revised
Oh,
request.
All right, my fault. Okay. I am going off.
And they
today.
still have to get, she wasn't coming tonight because they haven't gotten approval from the school committee or the superintendent to hold a fundraiser yet. So they
Okay.
have to get approval before they can even hold it. And now they're looking to do it maybe in front of businesses instead of,
Mhm.
at the lights, because in our discussion was the safety.
There's
the
still no
kids
date though,
being-
right?
Yeah, there's no,
Like,
and we
no,
don't meet
'cause-
until the 19th, so.
I know, and I let
Oh.
them know that.
All right.
They still need approval from the school committee and
Okay,
to do that. If they're gonna be in front of the businesses, they don't need selectmen's approval for that.
okay.
That would be, they'd have to go to the business, like Crosby's, and ask them if they could
Okay.
be out front.
Yeah, 'cause
And
it's
I think
private
that's what
property.
they're gonna do instead of being
Yeah.
at the lights, because
Yeah,
that
that's
was a little
dangerous.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know if you wanted to do it at Harry Murch Park, because that's.
Harry-
Yeah,
Harry-
yeah, that's a Memorial Park,
Man,
right?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's what I was just gonna bring up. That is a Veterans Memorial Park, and it's to be, treated that way. I'll talk with the VFW if they had it at the far end.
Yeah, no, they're not, I think
They're
they're
not gonna-
revising
they've
it. and
changed
they're
the
gonna-
venue?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
so
What
that
they
won't,
wanted was, I guess, it wasn't clear in her email at first, I think they wanted to stand at the lights, with, like cups
Nation
and,
cans.
like they do with the boot,
Oh,
for the
yeah,
fire
yeah.
department,
all right.
Okay.
is
If
what
they're
they
doing it
wanted
on
to
private
do.
property, then.
Right,
yes.
now they're kind of revising it to
Okay,
do it,
all right.
instead of at the lights.
All right, so we can pass on that, and good luck, and,
Yeah, good job.
great job, congratulations. All right, Healthy Farms host agreement. So, I'm sure everybody got correspondence from Doug that we have a signed agreement with the Healthy Farms on the hosting agreement. I guess that we came to an agreement on the one spot, or one paragraph that we
Paragraph
had.
4.
Right, so, Doug, you wanna give us just a little bit of color on what they've agreed to?
They've agreed to not open a second growing facility until they've reached maximum capacity of their building. Currently, with today's technology, they estimate around $32 million worth of production.
So I had a quick question, so I'm still trying to figure this out in my own mind, is that, so right now, they're approved to grow up to $8 million in product.
Yes, because after 8 million, they will need to revise their permit with the planning board to expand.
So once they reach 8 million, or above the 8 million, they would have to come back to us to do a new hosting agreement?
No.
No, we go up to
the-
what?
To the planning board to get that permit to expand. Then what we'll do is we'll agree on how much percentage of wholesale sales.
Well, I don't wanna
Well, I know,
confuse
but
the issue.
that's part of it.
Right, but, I mean, define wholesale then. because there's been some question about, if it's not sold in Georgetown, this is all medical, by the way, this doesn't include any recreation at all. If it's not sold in Georgetown, then it's considered wholesale?
If they grow it for their, let's say they have a second retail outlet
That they own,
that they own,
right?
then, I mean, for accounting purposes, it would be considered a wholesale sale to that outlet.
Okay, for us, for our agreement. How does that affect our agreement? Is that considered
Well,
wholesale?
at $8 million, then we'll deal with that.
Okay, so up to $8 million, we're earning, let's just put it this way, we're earning some type of remuneration on all, up to $8 million in growth.
No.
So that's,
On retail sales.
okay, all right. On wholesale, what happens then? We're not-
We'll agree to a percentage.
Once they do wholesale from
Once-
day one?
Once they expand the facility.
Okay.
From
Oh,
their, from their current configuration.
so they could do wholesale up to $8 million?
Yes.
Which we won't get a piece of at all.
Right.
No.
Well, Doug.
What's that?
My understanding is, once they start, cause we don't mention $8 million in this
Well, I mean,
agreement.
that's just an ancillary number, because
Right.
they say
That's
that their
their,
building
that's their
is configured.
capacity.
Yes.
Right, right.
That their building's capacity right now, the way it's configured, it will be able to produce $8 million.
But our agreement right now is on retail.
That's right.
Once they begin selling wholesale, then we renegotiate the
For wholesale.
agreement, we have a wholesale agreement.
No.
All right, so
Well,
that's the
not it
question.
either.
That's where I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, let's try to do this.
Let's go Doug and then we'll.
The building is currently configured by their estimates to produce $8 million, they can produce $8 million worth of product.
Under their current permit.
Right.
Okay.
If they need, if their sales or their output is going to go past $8 million, they need to get an update to their permit from the planning board to be able to expand their facility.
Okay.
As soon as that permit is granted, we will negotiate with them
A new host.
a wholesale agreement.
All right. So they could potentially do wholesale for, say it's $4 million right now, gross of what they're gonna sell. They could do 2 million wholesale and sell 2 million in Georgetown. We only get a piece on the 2 million wholesale in Georgetown, the retail in Georgetown. We don't get it if they send $2 million worth of product to Cambridge.
Not at this point in time.
We wouldn't get anything off the 2 million either, because it's up
This
to
is before-
4, it starts
yeah,
at
it's
4.
You know,
Before 4
this
million.
is-
No, I understand, but I was just using it as,
Right.
as an example,
Right.
right?
Although we get the base income.
The base, yeah.
You get your base,
Yeah.
which over 5 years, including the drug education money, is $945,000 guaranteed.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to get that straight in my mind, because, you know, Steve and I were kind of going back and forth on that.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure I understood it, so,
Well,
Yeah, I just brought it up, Mr. Chair, because it seemed like there was confusion about what was stated at the meeting on October 17th, as opposed to what was in the agreement. So, from my understanding, the Cambridge facility is a dispensary. They received their letter of non-opposition from Cambridge on September 26th. They have a ordinance that was approved to allow them setback requirements, et cetera, on their existing building. So in my mind, barring, any issues with planning, et cetera, their operation to sell in Cambridge is a go. I mean, that's what we have here. So, if you talk about what product will be sent to Cambridge, that's, I guess, the question, right, is if you're under the assumption that $8 million is gonna be part of that calculation, it's not, so
or you have to
they
make
could
that
sell,
assumption.
yeah, but they could sell 4 million out of Cambridge, I mean, that's in sell 4 million here,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't get anything about,
Well,
Above the 4
what do we
million.
care what Cambridge does? We don't care what Cambridge
well,
does.
that's not the point. The point was is that in the beginning, we all thought that the $8 million was going to be sold in Georgetown. That was from our discussions in the beginning.
That was before paragraph 4 became an issue. You know, that favored nation clause and all. That was before all that, and
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I don't have any issue with, I mean, I'm okay with the agreement. The only thing that concerns me is what was said in open session here by the applicants and what we read on paper. That's the only issue that I have is
Yeah.
there's inconsistencies, and that kind of troubles me a little bit.
From my own perspective, if it's grown here, then here's a what if. So their permit now, let's do this again, it's up to 8 million. They can grow up to $8 million in product
the way
right now.
they're configured
Right,
right now.
Based
they
on
can
that
reduce
permit.
that.
right. So what if 2 is sold in Georgetown and 6 is sold in Cambridge?
That's my
What do we
point.
get? I was under the,
$100,000 or $150,000.
we just get the guaranteed
or
money. We don't
200,
get it
that's right.
on the sales.
That's right.
I was under the impression, and I could be wrong, and I think I asked them this, is that we get a piece of everything that's sold in Georgetown, no matter where you sell it. And I think they said yes.
And the answer was, you'll get your money.
And I think if you asked Mr. Chair, everyone around this table, I think we all had the same impression.
But does the base payment of 100,000, no matter what they sell,
right.
kind of covers that
They
in a
don't
way?
sell anything. It's
Right.
$100,000.
And so what's the percentage? Is it what,
Well-
3% above that?
2.5%.
So what's
Above
2.5%
4
on, I mean, they're covering it in the base,
Oh.
in a way, to kind of
Yeah,
stop
look,
that.
Again, I have no problem with the figures.
Right.
I just have a problem with the facts, and that's really what's.
Well, it was.
What's trouble with
It
it?
was a point of contention. Then all of a sudden, this became an issue. Sure.
I'm gonna go to Joe.
So I think since we all had that same impression, I think that, that paragraph in terms of what the spirit of it was, we all had that same impression. So if that is going to change, I would argue that $4 million number should be also changed, because now, you're changing the landscape of, the document to say, okay, it used to be in my head, that 8 million, all the way, whether it be done in the first year, the second year, that there was a much better opportunity to earn past that $4 million, okay, if everything was credited here. If it is not going to be credited all here, then if they want that paragraph changed, I feel like that $4 million number also has to be changed. Because now, again, they're changing the landscape of the agreement. So that $4 million, might turn into $2 million. And now we're earning something over the $2 million. I mean, I would argue, and my caution here, in my head is that we're not going to be the predominant amount of money here, in terms of what we're getting credited for. I think a predominant amount of that money is going to leave here, and therefore we're not going to see $1 over $4 million for a number of years.
However,
If it
but the
comes-
base does escalate to cover that. So the base goes from 100 to 150 to 200. So that's kind of built in there just in case that wholesale is higher than the retail, right, piece of it. So it does escalate. So if you took 2.5% of 4 million is 100,000, right? Did I get that math right? Yeah, I think I did. And then 3% of 4 million is 120. We're actually getting 150. So it's kind of, in a way, we're getting the money just in case that does happen. It's the bonus money that we're.
Well, if you look at it like that,
right?
Mr. Chair, sure, I would agree with that. But at the same time, I think the nature of what I thought we were all, thinking, if I may say so, was that bonus was over and above all that. That was already there.
I understand, right?
All right, that was over and above to, to make it, a bigger pot, and I really do think that is going away. That opportunity to earn over 4 million is not be seen here, for a number of years. Certainly not in the first couple.
Mr. Chair, I think in the spirit of the agreement, right, this hosting agreement is constructed for the unknown, right? We don't know how it's going to impact the town, and whether it's public safety, the schools, children, et cetera, right, traffic. The more that business is able to grow, that in my mind, the risk that we incur as a community is going to increase, especially if there's deliveries now that are occurring, a substantial amount of deliveries in my mind, if it's heading to Cambridge. I mean, that's a huge population, and I don't think they right now have competition in the surrounding area that they're in. But that's the idea of this agreement. It's not us saying, oh, we want money, we want money. It's just, we don't know what the impact is gonna be on the town, and that's the spirit of the hosting agreement that towns get into. So,
However, we do, let's just add one piece, we do have the ability, or the police chief has the ability,
right,
to supersede above and beyond this if he feels like there's
planning.
impact.
yeah.
So we still have that piece of it. I'm gonna go to Gary.
Oh, okay, let's use hand up.
I don't see that any language as to what you're talking about has changed. What's changed is number 4. And yes, there was language in there that said that you could reopen negotiations. So that's basically what I see has changed. But now I have a question as to the language as written, if you've got it in front of it, and maybe Mike can help me with this
Which
answer,
one?
or Doug. Page 2, number 4, that was the one that changed. And it's right about in the middle after it says Georgetown, Massachusetts, and they're conducting that. It says, this is the language that you got them to agree to, Mr. Dawes, Doug, that, they would try to extend what they got. They're only using part of the building, so what this was saying that they agree that they would do that. But now, it says such expansion shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible until Healthy Farms has used best efforts and proceeded in good faith to secure such permits. I'm not quite understanding the way that's written. Can anybody help me with that? I mean,
Well, they
are
can't-
we in that giving them permission?
They can't expand without getting the appropriate permits and approvals.
That part I understand, and but I'm just not understanding that language in there. Does that look sort of standard to you?
Well, it's just lawyer talk.
That,
I understand.
this was written by our legal counsel.
Okay, so, okay,
Wait,
so everything that's here is.
Healthy Farms and we agreed on a premise and had language, and it was sent to
Yeah.
K&P.
So in a way, that's
KP law now.
that's lawyer talk saying that if they expand, they're gonna go through all the permitting
Right.
language,
Right. I
So-
asked them to clean it up and make it pretty language.
If I can, then, Mr. Chair, continue on a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, as I said earlier, I mean, all of what you're talking about, whether it's gross or retail or this and that was in the original agreement. It's that section 4 that has changed, so there has been no change there. I mean, I think that's a matter for legal, and if you get into court over it, I took the time today to tour the facility, and I was there for quite lengthy time,
You did,
because
good.
I took my wife Minda with me, because being a church secretary, she has gotten some questions, and they agreed, and Minda is very detailed at asking questions. But to see the facility and the amount that these folks have put into there, I mean, and just the way that it's all set up, I mean, granted, they're probably gonna make a lot of money, but they're also taking, I think, a heck of a chance, and especially where now the state has just changed the laws or allowed the law to change. I mean, you know, we were looking great if recreational marijuana, I think, didn't pass, because everybody was heading down the road. Now things have changed, but let's hope that they've got their foot in the door, that they've got a fine setup there, and that, you know, this will continue in the future to be a healthy agreement for them and us. I mean, I think that, you know, all involved have worked to come to this agreement, and I think that we need to accept this tonight. So I brought with me, before I left, I was a little late getting here, but I guess I made time. You know, I was looking for the letter that you guys did sign, and, you know, everything on there, on that letter that you guys signed tonight, appears to be written down here the same. There is, a little bit of it is different. The amount of money that's going, also towards, I think it's education of funding addiction treatment programs, that's sort of put in a different spot on here. But I mean, the amounts, I believe, are the same. So, I mean, I think that, you know, Mr. Dawes and Mike and our attorneys have worked to get this here before us, and it's been signed by them. And I just feel that we should move forward with this here tonight.
Okay.
If I might.
I'm going back to that
Okay.
number 4 again. And such expansion shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible until Healthy Farms has used best efforts. Shouldn't that be permissible? Shall not be deemed to be, I don't know, they got me backwards on this one.
Expansion shall not be deemed to be legally permissible until.
Yeah, but that says impermissible.
Impermissible.
Shall not be
There's a problem
deemed,
with this, I can't see it
such expansion shall not be deemed to be,
legally.
So you're telling me the lawyers made a mistake, maybe?
no, I don't know what that really means. Just say that again, read that
It
again.
happens.
Such expansion shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible.
It does.
Shall not be
It does
legally
read
impermissible.
strangely.
Shall not be impermissible, which means you can do it. Wouldn't you think? Such expansion shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible. Shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible, which tells me that I can do it.
Is there an if after that?
No, it says until healthy. That doesn't make sense.
It should not be deemed
It doesn't-
illegal, say.
Right, that doesn't make sense. Such expansion shall not be legally legally permissible until Healthy
Right,
Farms.
take out the IM.
Yeah, it doesn't sound, well, the shall not should be out there too. Such expansion shall not be
Legally
deemed to be
permissible.
legally, well, shall be deemed to be legally impermissible, if you want to get the not out of there.
If you want to get the not out, then you leave impermissible
Right.
in. So.
Such expansion shall be deemed to be legally impermissible until Healthy Farms has used best efforts and proceed in good faith. Mike, can you just, I don't know, am I wordsmithing too much here? Because that doesn't sound right to me.
I concur with that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
Well, I
Such
don't know.
expansion shall not be deemed to be legally impermissible. So if you're saying it's not legally impermissible, that means you can do it.
But then it does say until.
Right,
You know.
I think that maybe there's a typo in there. Either get rid of the IM or get rid of the not.
No, but wait, keep going though. Until Healthy Farms has used best efforts and proceeded in good faith to secure such permits.
And approvals.
I mean, I don't know, maybe we run that by the lawyers because that's got me twisted.
Well, it does read strangely, but,
Until Healthy
I-
Farms
you know,
has used
I,
best efforts.
what I was wondering was, did it mean that they basically may not have to come back in front of us if there's an expansion, but they would be in front of the planning board?
Oh, but then if you read the last part of it, it says, have been fully and finally denied by written decision of the legal, so that might be right then, if you read the last of it, the last of the sentence. Because it's just in the negative versus the positive,
Yeah.
because they're talking about it's not legally impermissible to go ahead and file for the best efforts until it's been denied. So that might be right then. We were just wordsmithing here. Wish we had the attorney to ask, but,
So,
all right.
two things that you need to remember is that in this community, there is no cap on what we can receive. So if we live in a utopian world and they're producing $32 million worth of product, there is no cap. Most communities out there that have similar type of agreements have a dollar cap on what the organization would pay to the community or donate. to the
My only comment on that
Under
is.
under the agreement that we have right now, we have to renegotiate with them
Right.
for the wholesale up to 32
Well, we're
million.
not talking about that. I'm talking about
Well,
just,
there's no cap.
just,
It's only up to 8
I said
million,
in a,
right?
no, well, never mind. This
Oh,
getting
I
out of
just-
hand.
no, I'm
it's
just,
getting out of hand. There
okay.
are no caps to what we can get. Other
But there's no
communities get capped
guarantee.
at 350
Can
or
we just-
500 or whatever.
Can we go back to this guaranteed 900? It's not guaranteed. The only thing that's guaranteed is 450,000. The other 2.5% of the 4 million. What if they decide they're just going to open up in Cambridge? They could sell $4 million in product in Cambridge and sell nothing in Georgetown, and we get nothing on that.
No. We're guaranteed 100,000 the first year, no matter what
Yeah.
happens. 150 the second year.
Right?
200 the third, fourth, and fifth year. That's $850,000, and then we're guaranteed on an escalating basis 10,000, 15, 20,
Where do I see that in the
25, and
agreement?
25 for the.
This is in the third and succeeding years. My bad. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just curious.
So we're guaranteed almost $1 million.
No, I'm fine with that. It's just
All right.
inconsistencies. There's too many. Who came up with the 4 million? We asked the applicants. They said that we did. We asked our board, and
Oh.
they said they did.
There's no sense
It's-
beating
I mean,
a dead horse.
No, well, no, it's not beating a dead horse. It's just it's us.
That was in this one,
It's-
that you guys did on October 17th.
Yeah, but he's going back further. He's going back further. Look, listen. Let's like
Again,
I
it's
said
just
the last
creating a
time.
relationship with a
Right.
business in town. That's
Let's
what
see.
it's all
Let's
about.
see where we go with it.
So.
Point well taken, though. You know, we want to make sure that people are held to what they negotiate in the first place.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to move the question. All those in favor?
But I don't think you have a motion.
Oh, I didn't have a motion? I thought we had a motion. Okay, my bad. All right, so I entertain a motion to accept the Healthy Farms Community Benefit Agreement as presented.
So moved.
All right, we have a second?
Second.
All right, now I'll move the question. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
2 nays. Okay. Motion carries. All right, legal access policy review, that's next. Everybody get a chance to take a look at this? Okay. Any questions on it? Mike, you wanna give us a little color? Just a little bit?
Well, I provided an explanation memo. Let me get to that, social media. Where the heck is it? Okay. I just went through the history of the policy. Basically, the Board of Selectmen established the policy back in 2002. And then when the Personnel Committee approved the town administrator's job description, which I've included, that hasn't changed since 2002 either. I think it's on the 6th bullet point on the job description. Act as liaison between town and town council, researching legal issues and coordinating resources.
Okay, there.
Sixth, I think it's the 6th bullet point, yeah. And then the selectmen back then established a procedure that if anybody needed to get a legal opinion, they had to fill out a request form in writing. And I used to use this initially, but they didn't have email back in 2002, so I just tell everybody to write me an email on what they want to ask legal counsel. And this policy has been in effect for a long time, and the legal counsel, that's why we have a main legal counsel, Tom McEnany. Everything, whether it's land use or personnel, all the questions go through him, and then he decides which partner, which attorney would be best in handling the answers.
Okay.
And they don't give out an opinion until, usually I'll CC the request from me to legal, and they know that I'm giving them permission to answer that question. If somebody writes them an email without me following up on an email or being CC'd on it, they won't answer any questions.
Okay.
And it's done for the original reason, is to control legal costs.
Okay.
Because KMP is not the only source of legal advice. Not most, but many of the different departments, like the DOR, they offer free legal advice. The Inspector General's office gives free legal advice. The Attorney General's office gives free legal advice. And we try to use those before we go to paid legal advice. And, you know, oftentimes, over the years, the same question gets asked over and over again. And we may have a legal opinion on hand. I have access to all the legal opinions. And
I think part of the mixed message about legal was when you first come on the board, you get an email from Copeland and Page that says, if you ever need anything, give us a call. And I think that's where part of the confusion comes in, is that I think that we've, past boards have agreed to pass everything through Mike, unless you felt it was something that was, I don't know, in a situation where it was too sensitive to go through Mike, and, it was an issue that, and it shouldn't be, I mean, unless it's based on something that you really can't discuss with Mike, because it's something that Mike's involved in, then there's, I think that would probably be the only time that you'd pick up the phone and call and.
well, yeah, that makes,
Right.
if you have a legal question about me or my position,
Right.
then, yeah, but it has to be agreed upon by all 5 members of the board, not one board member having a
Right.
question and asking about it. Because whether or not we're gonna get charged for it.
Right.
If they,
I'm going to Steve first. All right, Steve, go.
Yeah, so my confusion was we didn't have a policy, so we were told we had a policy. We couldn't find a policy. It seems like we found the policy. I'm good with it. I think we need to put the policy in with the other policies, so then, if we have this issue again, we can, refer a new select.
Well, I think the way Mike did this is that he has them all here for you, right? For everybody.
Yep.
A whole list, right? Annual town meeting warrant, disposal of surplus property. We should add the legal to this, Mike. It's not on, I don't see
no,
it here.
it's not.
We should add that there, so that we have a manual, a book.
Yeah, that was
Each
the
one of us,
confusion.
has a
on my
book,
end, yeah.
and we can say, all right, I'm gonna go to, I have a question on this, let me go see what the actual policy is. And that could be confusing, because that's the first thing you get. Hey, you got elected, call me if you have any problems. Or you have any questions, I'm free to, no, I don't think it says free. It just says, I'm here for your.
Leads you to that.
Yeah, well, no, in all honesty, and when I first came on the board, I had a question about signing the warrant. Because of payroll deduction, somebody was a member of the credit union. Should I, it's coming out of their payroll, it's their money, it's going in their account at my place, but should I sign the warrant? And he, you know, so I called him and he, you know, and he gave me all that information. So, again, I think to Mike's point is, obviously, to save cost, most of the questions that have been asked have probably been asked by many boards before us, and we probably already have the answer, so.
Sure.
All right, and then I'll go to Doug. if you have a
I
question.
will remember, I remember this policy getting written, they were, the Board of Selectmen at the time was well over their budget because of
Oh, yeah.
certain other boards leading up to it. But I just wanna let this board know, that as far as I'm concerned, I got that letter that stated, call me anytime. I don't believe I've taken advantage of that in the number of years that I've been on the board. I have taken advantage of some of the things that, as Mike said, as you some well know, I'm not afraid to call the state for help if I need it. And, but if I feel that I need to call them on something, I intend to do it, Mr. Chair.
And,
And I'm not gonna fill out a form.
right,
I'm not looking to split hairs, Mike. I mean, as you know, I haven't done it. I go through you. If I have a problem, I make this board well aware of it.
right.
And so, but if I feel that there's something that I need to personally talk to them about, I will take advantage of that letter that I got. Now, to that, I would like to know, and I think we need an answer on this. Is that charged? Did we get charged for like that time David says he called that first time when he was on the board? It would be nice to know, because I do believe they work for us as a, you know, they are our council, we appoint them. That letter to me sort of read as, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I think we need an answer on that, and that might help us stop from splitting some of these hairs.
Right.
I mean, so, and I'm not looking to be a pain in the neck to them or to this board or to Mike, but
Mr. Chairman.
I think Doug was next, and I'll.
Yep, go ahead.
Good.
All right. 99% of this policy is fine, I don't have an issue with. The part that I have concerns about is that the town administrator works for the Board of Selectmen, and yet the member of the Board of Selectmen has to ask the town administrator permission to go to legal counsel. I think that if we, as a member of a board, should probably talk with the chair and then make that, so we're not willy-nilly
Right.
going to town council. And like I said, 99% of the time, you're probably not going to.
And,
But I
the-
just
right.
have an issue with an employee telling their employer what they can and can't do.
I agree with you on that part, Doug, that if it's passed through the chair, then it'll get on the agenda for an actual legal opinion. You know, we can direct Mike to say, look, this is something that the board wants to do, we're gonna, you know, here it is, go do it, for us, please. I think the willy-nilly aspect of it is the piece that,
Right.
you know, and I'm not saying anybody did anything, you know, wrong. It's just we wanna, control costs, obviously, but I think we need to get that point clarified.
Right.
That letter that he
Sorry,
sends,
Mike,
is that
yeah.
free advice? Or is it?
Right.
I sincerely
yeah,
doubt it.
it'd be nice to know.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know that if you are gonna call, but generally, most of those questions have already been answered by a senior person on the
I
board.
know Joe has
Yeah,
a question, but as to what Doug said, I'd just like to ask, do we need to add something perhaps to this policy or our policy for that? You know?
I would say yes, if the
So that
board,
might be something to work on.
to the chair, has if a board member has questions that, you know, they're not comfortable going to Mike with, that they run it through the chair. That's all there is to it. And then from there, you know, maybe we should have a chairman's policy, what the responsibilities of the chairman are,
Well,
a
that's
job
sort of, that's
description.
sort of in what I put forward.
I know,
So-
if
If we get there,
we get there someday. All right, Joe, sorry.
So I had a couple points, but one has been touched upon, you know, but I think the general nature of my comment, with all due respect, Gary and everybody on this board, is I don't think any of us should supersede any kind of, you know, rule that we have in place. And, you know, if you have a concern, you know, it should probably run through the chair first. Okay, we can't have Gary saying, "Oh, I'm going to call. I don't care what anybody thinks," and then Steve says, "Well, I agree with that," but then I say, "Well, I'm going to call the chair." You know what I'm saying? We have to have an agreement between us as the board. We can't just say, "Oh, I'm doing this," and Doug says he's doing that, and we're all over the place. So I appreciate that, And I was gonna actually say exactly what Doug said. I don't know why we would have to go to the town administrator. And I think maybe the solution is we all go to the chair, first before we make, because there are cost restrictions here that we probably wanna consider. Maybe it's something that the chair can answer. Maybe it's something that the chair and Mike can answer. We have to have some agreement on the table. We can't just each be doing our own thing. We just can't.
Agreed.
If I may, to that, Mr.
Well, can I just go to Mike first, and then we'll go to Gary?
I don't look at it as I'm not giving permission per se. I'm saying, do we already have a legal opinion that exists?
Right.
So we're not asking the same question over and over again.
Which is why maybe it should go to the chair first.
If you're not comfortable going to Mike, if you think it's a sensitive situation that involves Mike in some regard,
Yeah, if
Then
you
you
think
don't-
I'm doing something
Right.
illegal, and you need to find an answer, well, yeah, you're not gonna ask me.
right, and if it goes through the chair, that's fine. If, and at every meeting, I ask, are there any other things to be brought forth to the meeting? And if you feel like if it just, ignored it and said, you're out of your mind, and you still wanna bring it up to the full board, then you would bring it up to the full board. That's why we have a board. So, so I tend to agree, but I think, to Gary's point, it should be in the policy. We should write,
Yes.
if a board member, before, in most cases are, making an honest attempt to contact the chair if you're not comfortable going through the town administrator. And then we'll take it from there. I think that's good.
Right.
It's a good
Because the vast
suggestion.
majority of issues are gonna go through Mike
Right.
anyhow.
Yeah, 99% of it's gonna
Right.
go through Mike, because it's probably already been asked by many people before us. Or we may have already asked it and forgot. That
Well,
happens.
if I can say, Mr. Chair, I don't know what the intention is of all these policies, but I would like to say that if you look at the dates on all these policies, sometimes we may think that we've been spinning our wheels, but we haven't. We've put forward a lot of policies
Exactly.
over the years that are here, so.
I kinda wanted to see them all in one spot,
Agreed.
with the table of contents. And, we should, as a board, pick, kinda risk rate these and, review them, some of them on an annual basis, some every 2 years and some every 3 years. We should be risk rating these and put them in some type of priority and say, all right, for this, for next year, we're gonna review these 5 because they're the most important, that are the most risk. God forbid I have to do another risk assessment, but I'm imposing it on you guys now. Boy, oh boy. So anyway, I think that's just good, board governance. It's just good governance, that's all. So maybe, Mike, if you would, just maybe kind of prioritize this for us to look at the next time, just this list, you don't have to give us each policy, to kind of come up with, hey, you know what, I think you should be looking at these 1 year, these 2 years, every 3 years. Okay? Yes, sir.
The free cash policy, I think, deserves the quickest look at, because I think we've ignored that the last couple of years.
Okay, point well taken, and we'll leave that up to Mike. All right, moving right along, but I like the idea that we have it all in one booklet, one
Right.
spot, right?
Right.
Maybe we can, are they on the website, Mike? Like, do we have a section for selectmen
I
only
think they are,
website?
they're on the selectmen's page.
Yes.
Okay, it is, okay,
Yeah, I have to check whether it's updated up there, but.
yeah, okay. All right, as you know, this board, we made a request to Parks and Rec to come in tonight to update us on where they are with their regulation, and the response was that they were working on it. I guess they had put it in front of their committee, they had not met with the police chief, from what I understand, and they requested that they come in on the first meeting of the new year. So that being said, I guess we'll just have to wait until then, but however, I will say this, is that we are very concerned, and, time flies around here. We meet every 2 weeks, I don't know how often Parks and Recs meet, but we need to make sure that we are ready for town meeting in the spring, for regulation changes, because we're not gonna have another summer the way we had last summer. Absolutely, as long as I'm on this board, not gonna happen, okay? So, this is a serious subject, and we are taking this very, very seriously. So we're gonna wanna see some progress made, and we're gonna wanna see Parks and Rec in here, along with the police chief, an invitation to the police chief to come in, and wanna see what progress, it's not just me, I'm sure this board, and I'm speaking on behalf of the board, we're very concerned, and we're not gonna go through another summer like we just had. So, anybody else wanna chime in on that, Joe?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I've heard a lot of people. I know one of the things that was brought up was that dog park.
Yeah.
I've heard there are plenty of people going down there. It has. Oh yeah,
Really?
people are going at will.
Do they put up a sign or no?
That was my question. Anybody?
I saw that on social media, that it said the park was closed, and people were complaining, or just curious, and some complaints about why did they close the park? The park was never open in the first place, but that was never communicated to the public. So, again, this is where the webpage, can help, the social media pieces, better communication with Parks and Rec, to be honest.
Well, I don't think we have any communications with Park and Rec. I mean, I'll admit, my wife is one of them that took our dog down there because there was a bunch of people going down there. I just don't know if there's a sign there. There's not. I don't want to, detract from people taking their dogs down there. That's what the whole point is. But people also have to understand the fact that there is certainly risk on our end if we don't have appropriate signage. So I think someone has to follow up with that immediately, as that is the summer is 6 months away, even though it has to be done. This is the here and now. People, I think, are taking their dogs down there, and I don't know if we have the appropriate signage to govern that space.
Mike, maybe we just send off an email to Jim with our concerns about the dog park specifically for now. But reiterate that we want to see some progress, and we want to see them in here the first meeting in January.
Yeah, they're just going out to bid on phase 2 of that park. So I don't think the dog park has even been constructed.
Oh, there's something there.
There's something.
I know there are people taking dogs down there.
It's enclosed.
And even if there's a
and
sign, I don't even know what a sign is going to do if we don't have any
have to have a
policy.
regulation,
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
what's the sign going to do?
Enforce it.
Even if you say no dog, whatever. I mean, it's not going to matter. They need to chain that thing, or it's not getting through to our community that it is not ready, and people should not be down there.
I have a question.
So-
to that.
Gary?
I would, my question right now would be, are we gonna plow that? And if we don't plow it, if there's no need to plow it, chances are, the time of year that it is, that it won't be used for the next 4 months.
You never know.
Mr. Chair, one other thing, if I may, Gary, you done? Okay. Someone actually just did text me. It says there is a sign that is put up there. It says, "Use at your own risk, not officially open." So I don't know, does that cover us? No. I'm thinking no. All right, I just want to make sure. So I don't know who spent money on that sign, but that was they should have went and bought some ice cream with it.
Point of order.
All right, so let's go to Gary.
Just a point of order, that anytime we use something like that, it needs to be entered into the minutes.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
The sign says, "Use at your own risk, not officially open."
We also have to identify who sent in the correspondence.
Do we have to identify that? I can certainly do that.
I think we should.
Just to make sure, it is Mr. Charles Kip Durney. Thank you, Kip, for watching even when you left. You should have just stayed.
He is the mayor.
That's funny.
Mr.
All right,
Chair,
so what, Gary, you already.
No, that was it.
Okay.
my only
Thank you for
concern
noting
is people going down there, something that's not officially open, is not even finished construction. What liability does the town have if somebody goes down there and gets hurt?
Right, it should say, no trespassing, is what it should say, not use at your own risk.
Yeah.
It should say no trespassing, and then the police can actually have some enforcement on town property if it says no trespassing. So, we really have to send off a memo, Mike, with our concerns. Okay? All right, so hopefully we'll see them here in the first meeting in January. Social media policy, we already did. Winter and spring Board of Selectmen meetings. Looks like January 9th and 23rd. In February the 13th and 27th. March 13, March 27, and April 10 and 24. Is that the 10th? Yeah, 10th and 24th.
February what, Mike?
February
13 and 27.
Oh, you have it here? Oh,
All right? So if that's an issue for anybody, let us know ahead of time. Looks like my schedule is pretty clear, although February might be an issue for me, but I'll let everybody
okay. Yeah,
know.
likewise. That's not school vacation, is it?
February
No,
13th?
we don't need school vacation week.
We don't, okay, just
I have
wanna
a
make sure.
DC trip that I go to, so every
Oh,
year.
Just,
So-
are we doing our best to follow our policy that we had started? I don't know if it was a second and a fourth or the first and a
Nope.
third, but we were.
Those are all second and fourth.
Yeah, we're trying.
Okay, so that is fine.
Yeah, I tried to keep them the same, and those run around the holidays, so
Right.
it was the only, if I did first and third,
Right.
then I ran into all the
Oh, that's
holidays.
what
That's pretty
happens when you get all
consistent.
these holidays.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
the Monday
Okay.
holidays.
All right, senior center update, Mike?
The plan now is to move the senior center staff and open during Christmas school vacation. The staff will be able to, the school staff will be able to assist in the move. And we're-
Yep.
We're also gonna ask the highway department, if they're not plowing, to give us a hand too, but they met today, no, Monday.
Today.
Was this
Today,
morning?
today is Monday, yes, yep, wow, feels like Wednesday. And everybody agreed that everything will be completed by then.
Okay. Ribbon cutting, grand opening,
Like I said, she wants to have a soft opening
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
And maybe have a grand opening, Valentine's Day
Or something.
gala, something
Okay.
like that.
all right, good. All right, quick update on the treasurer search, treasurer collector search, Mike?
Yeah, the selection committee met after our interviews, and we have designated a finalist. I did not give them an official conditional offer of employment, but we're doing, I do have releases to do a deeper background check, criminal and driving record, and I'll be doing the reference check. Hopefully, if all things go well, I'd be able to bring the finalists to the 19th meeting
Mm-hmm.
and ask you to meet her and appoint him or her. I shouldn't just say her.
Okay. Will we see any qualifications before that night, Mike? Once you have an accepted offer, would you send us, once you have an accepted offer, would you send out the resumes? Is that okay to do that? So we can have, at least have some background before we just meet the person.
Resumes are personnel
Okay.
documents and
Yeah, they
they're
won't,
not
no public, okay,
allowable.
all right,
I mean, I can give you what we asked for as minimum requirements.
right, give us some, okay,
Yeah.
all right,
And I can assure you, we only interviewed people that met the minimum requirements.
mhm,
Basically, education and 5 years of municipal experience.
Mr. Chair.
yes, sir,
It's not a starter's job.
right.
If I may ask, is it allowable if they come before us, though, on the 19th, can we ask?
Yeah, you can interview them.
Oh, so we
Sure.
can ask the questions
Yeah,
then,
because
okay.
you're the final, even though I'm the hiring authority, you're the appointing authority.
Okay.
So I can't hire them unless you appoint them, particularly that position.
When do you expect the start date to be? 1 January?
We'd have to negotiate that. That was my, hopefully, that was my drop dead date. They all said they only had to give 2-week notice. So that would work.
All right,
I have a question.
sure, go.
As to the subject of hiring, I briefly talked with Mike about this, and this might be today, might be a time to bring it up, and maybe to add to our workshop that we're scheduling, and that is to perhaps consider a moratorium on any new hires upon retirement, unless it goes before the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee, filling those positions. Just because looking at possible where the budget is going to be for next year. And we have had some discussion here. I'm not saying it's the way we need to go, but I think we may need to discuss it, because, as Mike said, the only way to get to that shortfall is to lay off people, and laying off people still costs you money, whereas replacing people upon leaving for one reason or retirement wouldn't be costing. So that might be a subject for either this meeting or perhaps that workshop that we're gonna have with the Finance Committee.
I mean, if you're asking my opinion, I wouldn't be discussing that tonight. I
No,
would,
that's what I'm saying, just
Right.
to put it forward.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's out there for discussion, let's discuss it, at that meeting
Okay,
with finance.
that's what I'm saying.
All right, the other thing on the agenda for tonight was Peter Durkee was to be here, but present in, if everybody saw the correspondence about, he wants to make a salary adjustment for his part-time employee. And, I would like to, at least ask some questions of, again, why are we doing this for one employee? If we're gonna make salary adjustments, we should be looking at the entire workforce. Because if what you do for one, based, what's the criteria? It just can't be random. I'm not saying it is. And in his correspondence to us was that the FinCom had approved it. Again, that's fine, but we have the final approval on that. And at this point, my recommendation is we would wanna talk with Peter about how we determine what the salary is. Has he done an analysis? And has he worked with Mike, being the personnel director, to take a look at what other people in similar positions are making? So, I'm not comfortable moving this forward, at least for tonight, until we get more information. And question Peter on, how did you just determine, a salary increase for somebody? Was there more responsibility taken? Was there, as it compared to other people, employees that are doing the same job in another area? So, it's a little touchy situation, because it could be discriminatory, and I'm not saying it is, it just could be. And I wanna make sure that that's not the case. So, that will pass on, and next thing we have is liquor license renewals, for 2017, everybody see those?
Yep.
All right, we can do them as a bunch, right, under each one?
Yeah.
All right, anybody wanna go?
Sure.
Take a shot at it?
Mr. Chair, what do we got here?
Just pass it to Joe.
Johnny's, please.
See.
Is that in addition to this?
Nope.
What's Johnny's,
Oh. I move that we grant common victual licenses to Restaurant All Alcohol, Another Spot Inc., DBA The Spot, Meta and Douglas Enterprises, DBA Tin Lizzie's Bar and Grill, Ribo's Bistro 2, Inc., DBA Flatbread, Black Swan Country Club, Restaurant Beer and Wine, nothing. Package Store All Alcohol, Georgetown Liquors Inc., CJ Liquors, DBA Johnny's Place. Beer and Wine Package Store, Crosby's Markets Inc., DBA Crosby's Marketplace. Club All Alcohol, Georgetown Post 7608 VFW.
Right there.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So all those have passed. We've passed restaurant all alcohol, package store all alcohol, beer and wine package store, and club all alcohol.
Right.
Now on to licenses.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move to grant licenses, common victular, to Maestra LLC, Dunkin' Donuts, Nicky's Roast Beef and Pizza, Crosby's Marketplace, Georgetown Post 7608 VFW, The Spot, Ribo's Bistro 2 Inc., Flatbreads, Johnny's Place, Tin Lizzie's Bar and Grill, Charles C. Dame Lodge, AFM AM.
Right there.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we just do these one at a time.
You wanna do the
Yeah.
next one, Sean? at a
Yeah,
time?
one at a time, yep.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we grant a license for automatic amusement, Georgetown Post 7608 VFW, Tin Lizzie's Bar and Grill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move we grant a license for bowling to Georgetown Candlepin Bowling Lanes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I do have some discussion on this. Mike, at one point, there was a cease and desist there, yes? For fire code issues? Have those been cleared up, do you know?
Did the fire chief sign, or does he sign off on this?
He doesn't have to on the bowling lanes, but I did send over to the police and everyone for comments, and no one got back that the police had no
What about fire,
problems
though?
with anyone.
Not,
Fire, the only ones they do inspections of is the liquor, the alcohol. They're
Okay.
required of just the restaurant, the restaurants with seating are the only ones that they have to do inspections of.
I know Chief
I
Mitchell's
think we
been-
should have at least some sort of an inspection.
I agree.
yeah, no, the fire department's inspecting
I
these
mean, they
these
still do
places.
their own inspections, this
Okay.
is just
Right.
for the bowling license.
I know Chief Mitchell has been working with the proprietor there.
Okay,
I don't believe it's open,
No, it's not open.
yeah,
right. Ki-
but he did apply for his license,
He just needs to renew
Oh,
his
okay.
license.
Okay, and it expires, what, 12/31?
yes,
So we could do this on the 19th if we wanted to?
yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna pass over bowling?
Well, we have a motion and a second. You know, I'd like to wait, but we already have a motion and a second, so we can vote on it.
Yeah, if I may, I think, you know, the
Oh,
fire
no one
department
does,
has
it's
the
just-
authority to open and close them, and if he's not meeting,
They-
the-
I mean, he's-
then
they
even
s-
with the license, if he hasn't done what he's supposed to do, then he probably can't open.
Mhm.
So I think granting him the license is, in my opinion, I could vote for that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would, I mean, if we have this information and we vote, I think that would just be irresponsible.
Vote your conscience. Anybody else? Okay, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Until the 19th. Well, let's put it back on for the 19th. Could we get a communication from the fire chief, please? Okay. All right, secondhand shop.
Used car. Second, Mr. Chair, I propose we grant a license to Second Hand Shop, Pratt Hobby Shop.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I was daydreaming there. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I move that we grant the license for Sunday entertainment to the Georgetown Post 7608 VFW, The Spot, Ribo's Bistro 2 Inc., Flatbreads, Tin Lizzie's Bar and Grill.
Second.
okay. Just a point of order, all of these expire 12/31 of 17.
Yes.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay,
Mr. Chair, I move that we provide license for weekly entertainment to the Georgetown Post 7608 VFW, The Spot, Ribo's Bistro 2 Inc., Flatbreads, Tin Lizzie's Bar and Grill, to expire, December 31st, 2017?
all right.
Second.
We have a second, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, gentlemen, you have homework to do, and I gave you a deadline.
Yeah,
And what was that deadline?
next Monday.
Next Monday. Okay, so the deadline for those watching at home is Mike's review. So I would expect those on time and filled out in their entirety, please. Any other business to come forth before the Board of Selectmen that we have not taken on? Steve?
I just have one, water department, so Lou came by, was it a couple months ago? And I think he had agreed that he would provide his plan, I guess, both short and long-term
Okay.
plan for water department. I don't know if we heard from him or not.
Have not heard any correspondence. Why don't we reach out
Yeah, if we
and
can
ask
have
him for
them.
after the first of the year, it's the
Sure,
holidays now.
oh, sure,
You
absolutely.
know, if we could share with us between, sometime in that February area.
Yeah.
Give it a little time. Okay, anything else? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Dave, these are